Hello and welcome coders to the Sky Coding. This is chapter 10 and in this session we will see about keys in MySQL, which is a very important concept related to indexing. First of all, we will see unique key, primary key, foreign key, composite key. These are four most important keys. Okay, so basically we can call keys as a constants because constants we use to specify the rules on any of the specific table so that data can be limited and data can be entered into the table on the basis of some rules. Okay, we are just specifying the rules for entering the data. So without wasting any time, let's get started, and the previous session link will be given in the description box. You can watch the previous session from the description box. So first of all, we will see unique key and primary key in this video, and rest other foreign key and composite key in the another video. So let's get started and let's see unique key. What is a unique key? As name suggests that something will be unique. Okay, so whenever we will specify any column as a unique, then that column will not store the duplicate values, means there will not be any duplicacy. Okay, so it is just you can call as a single field or a combination of fields which will ensure that all data which is going to store in that table or in that column will be unique. It means a column cannot store a duplicate values. Okay, so let me write here. Okay, guys, so you can see I have written few points of unique key so that your theory concept will also be clear, because there will be MCQ type of questions related to unique key, that which key can store the null value. So you can just answer that null value, because theory should also be clear about the concepts of keys. Okay, so basically it is just helpful in preventing two records from storing identical values, and it will just maintain the integrity and reliability because it will just store the distinct values, and it will also work with the foreign key, and it can contain the null value into the table. Okay, if you are specifying any column as a unique, then that column can be null value. Okay, and this thing is a difference between unique key and primary key. We will see a big difference between unique key and a primary key, because this is a very confusing that unique key is also working same and primary key is also working same. So we will see the key differences between unique key and primary key so that your concept will be more clear related to unique key and the primary key. So these are some points which is related to unique key. That unique means it will just store the unique values. So for creating a unique key, we have basically two methods. We can use the create statement for creating the unique key, and we can use the alter statements. Okay, we will see these things. Okay, we have written points, and we have basically written the metadata for creating a table, so that we can save the time in the video, because if you are going to write all the things in front of you, then video will be more lengthy, and that's not a good practice. So first of all, we will see that how can we create a unique key with the create statement, then we will see with the alter statement. And in the unique key with the create statement, we will try to create a unique key on a single column first, then we will see on multiple columns, and then we will see using alter state. So now let's create the database, because chapter 10 was used somewhere, so that's why I have dropped. And let's create this database again, and let's use the database, and let's refresh the schema. You can see we got this chapter 10 database. Now we will just create a table with a unique key column on the single column. We are just specifying unique key on a single column. Okay, so this is a simple metadata for creating a table. Create table student, and it is having id, name, email, age, and city. So we will see that suppose that I want to specify the unique key on this integer column, that is student id. We want to just specify this student id as a unique key. So how can we specify this student id as a unique key? Suppose so I will just write here unique keyword. You have to just simply write a unique keyword, and that column will be just a unique key for that table. Okay, and suppose that you want to specify this email also as a unique key, so you can just write unique here. Okay, unique means that thing will be unique, and you cannot enter the same data, means duplicate values into the two columns of that table. So that's why we are specifying this id will also be a unique, and email should also be a unique, because two emails cannot be same for any user. If you talk about the real life, means if you are not talking about the dummy data, then two emails cannot be same. Okay, and the email is also a distinct value, so that's why we are specifying unique key for email as well. Okay, so let's not give unique key as a email this time. We will just give this as a later on. Okay, and suppose that you want that id should not be a null value, so you can just give not null like this, not null unique. So this student id will be a not null, and it will be just a unique key. So this is how you can create a unique key on a single table. And now let me create a table, then we will see the differences. As you can see, table is created successfully, this student 01 table, and now we are going to insert this data. This is a simple data for student ID 1 Amit, 2 Raman, and 3 Ramesh. Okay, and these are emails and age and city. So let's insert this data. So data is inserted successfully, and if we will check the data, then this data will be shown. Okay, so select asterisk from student underscore 01. Okay, so okay, let's correct the spelling for student. Okay, you can see we got this data 123 employee id. So okay, so I have specified this student id as a unique key. So whenever we will try to insert the new data with the same means student id, then it will throw you the error that duplicate entry. Okay, that's what we need from the unique key, that it can not, it should not enter the data with the same values, means there should not be duplicacy in the data. So suppose that let's try to insert the new data with the employee with the student id as 1. Okay, so let's try to insert. Okay, so let's insert the data and insert it to this, and the student id should be 1, and we are just going to insert the same data, and we will see what we are getting. It will throw you the error that duplicate entry for column 1. Okay, so you can see it is showing duplicate entry 1 for the key student 01, because we have specified this table, this column student id as a not null and unique. Okay, and if you are just leaving this thing, then also it will show you the error, that column count mismatch, because here we have specified as not null. So I that student id should not be a unique, no, not null value. Okay, and suppose that if you are going to change the name here as well. Okay, so suppose that I am just suppose that I am just going to change this name to Nitin. Okay, and I'm going to change this email as well, and I'm going to modify all of the data, and I'm going to change this to Lucknow. Then also it will not able to insert the data, because we are just giving the that student id same as 1. Okay, that's why it is showing duplicated. Okay, so that's what the rule we are specifying on the table. Here we have specified that a student id should be a unique value. Okay, so this is what we need from the unique key. It will not allow to enter the data with the same keys, and with the same data which is already available. We cannot enter the data again with that value. So this is what we want from the unique key. So this is how we can specify the unique key on a single column, and now we will see how can we specify the unique key on the multiple columns. Okay, so multiple column is just the same, we can just simply copy the same metadata from here, and we will just paste it here, and this is we have created. Okay, and if you are just going to create another table, then let me show you that thing. Okay, if you are not specifying any rule, means anything. Okay, so let's write here student temp table. Okay, and let's remove these things. Okay, let's remove this thing. Okay, and let's create. Okay, so table is created, and let's insert some data here in temp, and let's insert this data. And whenever we are going to insert this thing, okay, insert this data with the same student id, then it will just enter the data into this table. Okay, you can see one row affected. Why it has inserted this data this time? Because in our this table we have not specified any key, not neither primary key nor unique key. We have not specified any type of rules. Okay, so this is just a simple table where there is no any primary key, no any unique key. So that's why whenever I will enter the data with the same key, there will be just a duplication, and we can enter the same data again and again. Okay, so this is not a good practice, and it will not maintain the data reliability and integrity. Okay, so this is how, what is the difference between a simple table without any keys and with the unique key. Okay, here you can see, here we have specified the unique key, and we have specified the rules. Here we have not specified any of the rules. That's why we are going to enter the same data again and again. And if you will run this again, you can see we are going to insert the same data again and again. And if you are going to check the data, then you will see the same data many times. Select a step from student, and let's see temp. Okay, you can see we have this Nitin data lots of time, one student id is lots of time. Okay, so this is a difference between a unique key and we are not going to specify any key here. Okay, we have not specified any key here, so that's why this is a difference. We are going to enter, we have entered all of the data. Okay, so let's see how can we specify the unique key on multiple columns. Suppose that this is student id and this is also a unique key, and suppose that you want this email also as a unique key, so you can just write here unique key. And suppose that you want age also as a unique key, so you can write unique in front of that column. Okay, so whatever column you want to specify as a unique, you can just write unique keyword in front of that column. Okay, and there is one more method as well for is to creating the unique on multiple columns. Okay, you can use the constraint keyword. Let me tell you that method as well. So in that method you have to write here constraint, as I have told you about the constraint. You have to write constraint and you can give your constraint name. Suppose that I want to specify this email and id is a unique key, so I will just write id underscore email and I will just write unique keyword here, unique. And what are the unique columns where I want to specify the unique key, so we will write those column names here. I want to specify on student id and student email. Okay, and you have to close this, and after that you have to give the okay. Okay, there is a semicolon given already. Okay, and you have to remove this unique key from here. Okay, so this time this way also you can just specify the unique key on multiple columns. You can write those column names here. Okay, so let's create the table. What it is saying, okay, table student 01 is already there, so we will just give table underscore a student 2. Okay, so let's check the tables. Okay, we are having student 01, so this is student 02. So let's create the table. You can see table created successfully. And now let's check. Okay, check unique key. Okay, so for that we will just select the indexes. Okay, so index from my table name is student 02. Okay, basically guys, we will see indexing in the upcoming video, so we have not covered the indexing, so we are not going to go in the deep about the indexing. We will see indexing, clustered index, non-clustered index, b tree type. Okay, we will see all those things, okay, in the upcoming video. Okay, so let's show index. So you can see we are having this student 02 table, and the key name is id email, and this is id email, and you can see these columns here. Okay, student id is also a unique key and student email is also a unique key. Okay, and you can see here this is index type is b type. B type is just a balanced type index. We will see in the upcoming videos in the indexing video in brief about the b tree. Okay, that is a balanced tree. We are just going to create a balanced tree there. Okay, basically it is just a process of sorting the large blocks of data to make searching through that data faster and easier. Basically we use indexing in the book. Okay, I suppose that we are having a book and we are having lots of chapters, lots of topics. So in the every book you will see, whenever you will open the first second page, then you will see there are contents. Okay, there is a indexing is also done on the books. Okay, so this on the similar way we are having the indexing in the MySQL as well, so that we can search and sort the data faster. Okay, that's why it is saying. Okay, so you can see we have unique on the two column, that is student id and student email, and you can see the index type is a b type here. Okay, so this is just a process of sorting and searching the data, which will just help you to sort the data faster. Okay, and basically b tree is just a dynamic level multi-level indexing, where there will be a key value pairs and data will be kept in the secondary memory, and whenever you will fetch the data by indexing, then it will fetch the data from the secondary memory. Okay, and basically b tree is just a balanced tree, and it is just formed by roots, nodes and leaf nodes, and there are some intermediate nodes as well. Okay, we will cover b tree in brief in the indexing video, so that don't worry, we will understand this thing b tree briefly, so that your concepts will also be clear in the upcoming videos. Okay, so the link for the b tree and indexing will be given in the description box. You can watch from there. Okay, so let me write here something about b tree. B tree is a balanced tree. Okay, we will cover this thing later on, b tree. Okay, so now we have seen this thing, how can we specify the unique key on multiple columns, and we have seen how we are creating the unique key on the by using the create statement, means by creating the table. Okay, on the time of table creation we are specifying the we are specifying the unique key. Okay, and suppose that you have created the table and you forgot to specify any key as a primary key, so how can we just use the alter statement for specifying the unique key? So for that, let me copy this metadata and let's paste here. Okay, and we will create a simple table without specifying any key as a primary key. Then we will just alter that table and we will just alter that table and give the unique key, okay, later on. Okay, so for student 02, let's give here student 04. Okay, and let's create a simple table. Okay, you can see this is a simple table which is not having any keys, neither unique key nor primary key. Okay, so we will see how can we alter this and give any key as a primary key or unique key. This time we will just give unique key. Okay, so for that, we will just write this alter statement, alter table. My table name is student 02, student 04, alter table student 04, and you have to write add constraint. Okay, add constraint, and suppose that I want for email and id. Okay, email, student id and student email, so I will just write here, you can give any name, this is just a name of that constraint. Okay, so I want student id and student email. Okay, so add constant, and you have to use the unique keyword and you have to give the column names, which columns you want as a unique key. So I want student id, I want student email. Okay, so I will write those column names and you have to just close this and you have to just refresh. Okay, and you have to just run this. Okay, you can see 0 rows affected, and whenever we will check this thing, so index from my table name is student 04. Okay, then you will see here we got these indexes on the column student id, student email, and the index type is bit. Okay, as earlier you can see we have not specified any column as a unique key, but we have altered that thing and we have checked this thing that whether our indexing is coming or not. You can see we have this unique key on the student id and on the student email column, and the index type is bt type. Okay, so that's how you can alter the table, and you can just give any column as a unique key later on as well if you forgot to give on the table creation metadata. Okay, so that's all about the unique key. We have seen a unique on single column, on multiple column, and we have seen about the balance t, and we have seen that how can we alter the table and give any key as a any column as a unique key. Okay, so this is all about the unique key. And if you talk about the dropping the unique key, then dropping is also same. We will just simply write here, let me write here, drop unique key. So for dropping the unique key, we will just alter the table, alter table. My table name is student 04, and we will just drop that index, drop index, and my index name is this is the index name which I am giving. Okay, so drop index name, and we will just run this. You can see this index is dropped. Okay, and if we will now check in the table, you can see we are not having any indexing in this student table. Okay, why we are not having? Because we have dropped this indexing. Okay, so this time by this way, using alter statement drop index, you can drop the index. Okay, so this is the index name we are giving here. Also you can see this is id email, this is just a constraint name which I am giving. Okay, so by this way you can just drop any indexes. Okay, so this is all about the unique key. We have covered all things about dropping as well. So now we will cover about the primary key. Okay, so basically primary key is a single or combination of the field which is basically used to identify the recalls uniquely. Okay, and if the column contains the primary key constraint, then that column cannot be empty. Okay, as this was not in the unique key, we can specify and we can give and we can leave unique key column as null, but in the primary key case we cannot suppose that any of the column is a primary key in the any of the table, then we cannot leave that column and we cannot give the null value to that column. Okay, so that's a difference between these things. Okay, so let me write few points here about the primary key, then your concepts will be more clear. Okay guys, you can see I have written few points. Okay, so let's understand these things quickly. Okay, so basically it is a combination of field which will just insert the unique key and that column cannot be a null where you have specified as a primary key. Okay, and these are some rules for specifying the primary key. Primary key column must be a unique, and each table can contain only one primary key, as this was not in the unique key. In the unique key we can specify any column as a unique key. Okay, and primary key column cannot be null or empty, and MySQL does not allow to insert a new row with existing primary key. And we have just seen one advanced level of queries. By with this that way we are just modifying the primary key. Okay, so that's a video link in the given in the description. You can watch that session, okay, where we have seen insert ignore statement. Okay, okay, and it is recommended to use int and big data type for the primary key column. Okay, so these are few points. So, and we will see this thing. Okay, in the similar way in the primary key as well, we are having a create statement. We can specify the primary key on the create statement, means on creating the table, or we can just alter that thing later on as well. Okay, so let's see that how can we create a table, and specify the primary key on that table. Okay, on the table creation metadata. Okay, so for that we will see on the single column first, then on the multiple column. Okay, so this is a simple table, create table login, and it is having login id, username, password, email column. Okay, so suppose that I want to specify this login id as a primary key. So how can we do this as a primary key? You have to just simply write here primary key keyword. Okay, primary key. Okay, and there is a auto increment as well, means if you are giving any column as a auto increment primary key, then that value you don't have to enter again and again while inserting the data. Okay, so if you want to give auto increment, you can give auto increment as well. Okay, so this way we can give auto increment. Okay, so if we will create the table, let's create the table login. As you can see, login is created, and you can see we got this login table, and in this login id is an auto increment, and it is a primary key. Okay, so it is a unique key. We cannot leave this login id as a null value, and this is just a primary key, means it is just a unique, and we cannot enter the same data again and again into this. Okay, so let's insert this data first, Niti, and second Shivam. Okay, so let's insert. Okay, so you can see we have inserted the data, and let's check the data. Okay, so select asterisk from primary key. Okay, okay, what it is. Okay, not primary key. My table name is login. Sorry, I have given the primary key only. Okay, so select asterisk from login, and let's check. You can see we are having login id 1, username is Niti, and login id 2, username is Shivam. Okay, so if you are going to insert the same data into this table again, then it will show you the error as duplicate key. Okay, so let's see that. Okay, insert into login, and we are going to insert this data again, then it will show you the error duplicated. Okay, and if you will change the name here to Natasha as well, then also it will show you the error. You can see it is also showing duplicated even because one id is already there in the table. Okay, that's what we need from the this thing. Okay, so this is how if you will leave this thing as well, this, then also it is showing. Okay, so this is how you can specify any key as a primary key. You can see column count mismatch is shown. Okay, so this is how you can just specify any column as a primary key. Okay, so this is how you can specify in the single column. And now let's see that how can we specify the primary key on the multiple columns. For the multiple columns, we will just simply copy paste here, and we will just remove this thing from here, and now we will just write here a constraint query. Okay, so we will just write here primary key, and suppose that I want to specify primary key this login id, so I will just write login id name, column name, and suppose that you want username should also be unique, so I will just give username here. Okay, so by this way you can just specify primary key for the multiple columns. Okay, as here login id and username is a primary key in this case. Okay, so let's create this table login underscore 02. Okay, so you can see table created successfully. Let's refresh the schema, and let's maximize this. You can see we got login, and if you will check here constraint, then you will see that how many constraints we are having. Okay, so let's show index. So index from my table name is login underscore 02. Okay, and let's see. Okay, you can see here we are having this login id as a primary key and username as a primary key, and you can see index type is b tree. Okay, that is a balanced tree. Okay, so by this way you can specify two columns as a primary key by just writing those column names. Okay, you can see we have written these names and we have specified this login id and username, and these both login id and username will be a unique value. Okay, by this way you can just specify primary key on multiple columns. Okay, and suppose that you have created the table and you have just forgotten to enter any column as a primary key, then how can we just alter that thing later on? So for that we will just create a simple table first, then we will alter that thing. Okay, so this is a simple table, and let's remove this thing primary key query from here, and let's create the simple table. Okay, so let's give here a login temp. Okay, login temp. Okay, so let's create the table, and you can see table created, and here we have not specified any column as a primary key, so it is not having any column as a primary key. Okay, so if you will check the indexing. Okay, so index from my table name is login underscore temp. Okay, so let's check this thing. You can see we are not having any column as a primary key, unique key or any key. Okay, so I will just alter this thing later on. So if you want to alter this thing later on, you have to write the query alter table. My table name is login temp, and we will just add primary key. Okay, add primary key, and I will just give my primary key column names. Okay, suppose that I want this login id as primary key, so I will just give login id, and suppose that I want username as a primary key, so I will just give username. Okay, and we will just close this. Okay, so by this way you can just alter the table, and you can just give and specify any column as a primary key later on as well. Okay, after creating the table. Okay, so let's run this thing, and let's see in the indexing. This time you can see if this time if we are running, then we can see we are checking here our login id and username is a primary key, and index type is b tree. Okay, balance tree. Okay, so by this way you can just alter the table, and you can just specify the primary key later on. Okay, so this is all about this primary key, and if you want to drop the primary key, then dropping is also same, drop primary key. Okay, so if you want to drop, then you can just alter the table, alter table login, and I want to drop primary key. Okay, so I will just write here I want to drop from login temp. Okay, so I will run this. You can see this indexing is drop, and if you will check here, you can see we are not having any indexing, means any primary key in this login temp table. Okay, so this is how you can just drop the primary key, and you can just alter the table and insert the primary key later on specify. And this is all about the primary key and unique key. And now let's see the very important thing, that is the difference between primary key and unique key. So I have written few points here, a few differences about primary key and unique key. We will see these differences. These are a very important thing. Okay, so you can see here primary key will not accept the null values, whereas unique key can accept the null values. Okay, so primary key will not accept the null values. Okay, where if any of the column you have specified as a primary key, then that column will not accept the null values, but unique key can accept the null values. Okay, and a table can have only one primary key, whereas it can have a multiple unique key. Okay, and primary key does not allow you to delete or modify the data, but unique key does that modifications. Okay, and primary key supports auto increment value, but a unique key does not support auto increment value. We have seen this thing here. If we are just specifying this this thing as auto increment, you can see id login id. You can use this auto increment feature with the primary key, but you cannot use this auto increment with the unique key. Okay, and primary key is used for indicating the rows uniquely, but unique key is used for preventing the duplicate values. Okay, yeah, primary key we use to indicate the unique values in the unique rows, but unique key we use to prevent the duplicate values, so that it can maintain the data integrity and reliability, so that our data will just store in the organized way. Okay, that's the thing which we have seen by specifying the unique key. Okay, and this a primary key can be a unique key, but a unique key cannot be a primary key. Okay, primary key can be a unique key, but a unique key cannot be a primary key. Okay, so these are the differences between primary key and unique key. That's all about this today's session about the unique key, primary key. Okay, we have seen all those things. Okay, so that's all for today's session. Bye, take care of yourself guys, and in the next session we will see about the foreign key and the composite key.